Hello world, it's Curtis Potter with Boundless Inspiration. I'm just sitting out here. Yep, it's nighttime. So I just went to do a quote, put in those hours all day, doing quotes at night. Those grinding hours, right? But see, the quote was right next to this building. And you're like, what's that building? Some of you may know, but some of you don't. And for the ones that don't, right there, that was my first location of the first brick and mortar for my business. And see, it's downtown Indianapolis is right there. A couple, 4 or 5 streets over, Mass Ave. It's right on Mass Ave. So it's one of the sought out places in Indianapolis, Indiana for, it's prime time business. And I started in my home in a garage, and then I rented out a place that was just really another garage that I rented out where I ran my business, and then I moved into here, right? And downtown Indianapolis, I'm looking at it right now. It's hard to see on my camera, but like downtown's right there. And every time when I'd go to eat, putting in those long hours, I'd go eat on Mass Ave, and it was popping, right? One of those hot spots for Indianapolis. And see, coming into here was that confidence booster for me to where I was like, you know what, I'm making it. I watched both my grandpas run successful businesses, and I was like, Grandpa, like he's passed away, but I was just like, I'm doing it, Grandpa, right? And see, I was like thinking about it, because as I'm going to do this quote, all these different emotions are coming up inside me where, that bittersweet, like, it's just, you see that smile on my face. And it really made me think of, like, for all the other people out there who's considering starting a business or starting to work on their dreams and goals, because I'm pushing everyone to just step out of your comfort zone and go after your dreams and goals in life, whatever it may be. It's not going to be the same as mine. Everyone's different. But if you have something inside you where you want to be doing something else different in life, then go after it. And it made me think about, I just went and spoke in the Putnamville prison right before my trip to Dubai. And a guy came up to me and he said, Curtis, man, thank you for coming, blah, blah, blah. But how did you start? Because he had like 12 years left on his sentence. And he was like, man, I'm going to be in here for a long time. But I started this ministry inside here. How did you get to where you're at right now? And I said, buddy, you've already done it. You just got to start. Like, that's all you got to do. And sometimes it's with blind faith. Like, I know this is going to work out. I know that I'm going to push through the grind and I'm going to do it. See, I went to go do this quote, and you see, it's nighttime. I just walked out of the homeowner's house at 7:30 at night. And that's the kind of hours that you got to put in when you're going after your dream and goals until it makes it, until you learn, you do, then you delegate it. And then that's when you start not having to put in so many of those hours. But at the start, you quit working a 40 to 45 an hour week job to work 90, 100 hours for yourself. Right? I've had those 80, 90, 100-hour weeks. I've had like a 140-hour week when I did the Covered Bridge Festival. I was working 16-hour days for 10 days straight. So it was 160 hours I had averaged in 10 days. I'm like, why did I sign up for this, right? But then when you have the time freedom and the financial freedom, because you work a few, maybe 5 to 10 hard years, like most won't, you can live the rest of your life like most can't. And see, if you're working a job that you can't stand, you're literally selling your peace and happiness. You're selling your soul for a job that would replace you. If you died, if you quit, they're going to replace you. They'll fire you and replace you. They probably already have you replaced before they fire you. Times get hard. They got to lay off. See ya. Right? So you're like, why am I doing this for $1? Even if it's for 100 grand, like, is it worth it? You're selling your happiness for 100,000 a year? Not me. And I don't recommend it either. So the thing is, I've heard both sides of the spectrum where some of the people that I'm around, they're like, you can't count the cost. You can't count the cost. If you want it, buy it. If you want it, go after it. Get it. You don't downgrade your life to match your income or your work ethic. You got to upgrade your work ethic or your income to match the life you want to live. So for me, it's a no-brainer. But then the other day I heard someone else say, somebody that's mentoring me and I respect, they say, Curtis, you got to count the cost. And I was like, wait, no, you can't count the cost. And they're like, no, but listen, you've got to count the cost sometimes to know if you're willing to pay the price for what it's going to cost to do it. I was up at 4 a.m., finishing up a quote at 7:30 p.m. Now I've got to go put the quote together, get pricing and everything like that. I've got a Zoom call at 8:45. My belly's grumbling, right? So you've got to evaluate when you're counting the cost of going after a dream and goal. What are you willing to put in? How many hours are you willing to put in? How much studying are you willing to put in? How many times of failure are you willing to put in to achieve that goal? Because if you're not willing to put in that effort, I feel sorry for you, because it's worth it. Maybe you should just stay at that job and be miserable for the rest of your life. I don't advise it. I don't. So you're like, all right, Curtis, you know what? I am willing to put in that. I'm willing to put in that sweat equity. Then just start. Just start. Sometimes it's like, oh, I want to research. You know what? That's going to help you. Whatever you're starting, learn from the people that's already done it. So maybe spend a couple weeks watching the YouTube videos of the people that you want to do the same thing they've done, the successful people. Invest in a mentor, a business coach. You know, maybe your goal was to go into business management through college to help you lessen the chance of failure. But I'd say get a mentor that done whatever it is that you're wanting to do, and then just start. Learn as you go. Life's the best teacher. So maybe count the cost, because you know yourself better than anyone else. Like, are you willing to put in those hours? Getting up at 4 a.m. this morning, I was like, why? And I was like, oh yeah, because I got dreams and goals that are bigger than me. Like, how many lives are going to be affected if you don't go after what's in your heart? Like, are you going to be miserable at home where your relationship's struggling? Where your kids' relationships are struggling? Where you're working a job where they tell you can't go to their sporting events? And then for like me, that was one thing that messed me up as a kid when my buddies, all their parents was at sporting events and mine wasn't at times. My mom was there when she could. My dad wasn't. And it messed me up as a kid. It made me actually not finish playing sports. That was the one thing I was like, why am I doing this? As a kid, I wasn't mature enough to say, you know what, because I want to go after this. Bad enough because I didn't. So I was like, you know what, why? I'm just sitting here and nobody's in the stands rooting for me. So I quit. I was like, I didn't play football my junior and senior year. Like, nope, not worth the cost to me. So there's so many different costs of you going after or not going after your dreams and goals. Happiness, time freedom, financial freedom, your kids, it's generational. Your siblings, like, You doing it could make your siblings go after, it might elevate their standards, and like, man, I see my brother, my sister, my aunt, my uncle, my cousin going after it, my dad, my mom. For me, my 2 kids are my why. So I say, you know what? Like, do it. Put in that sweat equity, put in those late hours, because it's going to get to a point where I'm like, all right, kids, you ready to go to Dubai with dad? I'm going back and you're going with me. Like, it took me to be this age before I got to go to Dubai. And then it's something that I can bring my kids to. I didn't get to go to Disney World, but it's something that I'm putting in that hard work and effort so my kids can have a different life. I can show them a different life. I can show them how to have higher standards. No offense to my parents. They did what they knew, what they was taught. But just like in that video, Fault versus Responsibility by Will Smith, I love that video. It's not my fault that I didn't get to go to Disney World. I didn't get to go to the ocean until I became an adult. I didn't get to go to Dubai until I was an adult, It's not my fault. Again, I don't blame my parents, but it is my responsibility to go after the things I want in life. And I just invite you to look yourself in the mirror long enough to say, you know what, is my responsibility to go after what I want in life. No matter what's happened in my life, all the way up until just 3 minutes ago, it does not matter, but it is my responsibility to go after. It's my responsibility to get help, mentoring, counseling, reading books, going to seminars, workshops, whatever it is that's going to help you achieve the life you want to live. I can't tell you what it is that you want to achieve, but I know me. I want a happy relationship. I want to be happy about my finances. I want to be happy about the amount of vacations I get to take. I want to be happy about the place that I go to make a living every day. Like, I want to be happy with the life that I'm living. And you can be happy in all those moments. Like, even if it's rough, you could still be happy. And I invite you to stay happy no matter what place you're in life right now. But know what you're going after. And just go. Just start. I love you all. I hope this helped. Please like, share, comment, tag. You know the drill. Put it in the comment section. Just start. And we're all just getting a step closer to being boundless, baby. Have a great night.